I'm Dan Brown. I'm an artist with Metal Arts, and I'm here in front of Okanogan High School. And Okanogan High School, for a really small town, has a really super student art collection. Part of it is outside here at the entrance to the school, and then inside the school are hundreds of other pieces. The first piece I want you to look at today is the piece behind me by Jamie Rosenkrantz. So this is the very first one that a student made that started this whole permanent student art collection. And she made this out of some scrap metal that I had at home, and it was before I even knew how to weld. And what I did is I took her idea, I gave it to her, paired her up with a student in the metal shop, and they made it themselves. And we entered in an art show in Olympia, and it won an award there, and she wanted to keep it. So she made a replica for us to put here in front of the school. Here we are in front of another sculpture, and this one wasn't made by one student, but several students. When I was a teacher here, I would give assignments with a technique or a theme, and all of my students would come up with ideas. And sometimes it was hard to choose which was the best idea. So in this case, I used several students' work in designing the sculpture. And another cool thing about art is you have an idea, and then sometimes you have to figure out how to do it. And this is something called Styrofoam Casting. And so all of the holes in this piece of cement were cut with Styrofoam. And Styrofoam's really easy to cut and to make. And then you put those inside of a form for concrete, fill it with concrete, and pull the Styrofoam out. It's a really cool process, and it's one I had never done before. And so I called up an artist in Spokane, a guy by the name of Harold Belays. And he was the nicest guy. He explained, for over an hour on the phone on how to do this type of sculpture. And we have another one here at school that when you come and visit, I want you to find. It's a jigsaw puzzle that was done with two different colors of concrete, but using the same technique where you use pieces of Styrofoam. Here we are in front of a sculpture by Nate Downey, was a student here at Okanogan High School, and I love this one because it makes me smile. I mean, what other school in the United States has a dodo in front of their school? This is another cool Styrofoam technique that I didn't know how to do. But I had Rich Beyer, who is a very famous Washington artist, and his assistant Steve Love, who now runs the foundry where this was cast at, showed me how to do this. Nate had a giant square of Styrofoam. He sketched the Dodo Bird out on one side, and I gave him an electric chainsaw, and he cut out the shape in one direction. He drew the design on the other side, cut out the shape in the other direction. And then he took a big rasp, kind of like the kind they used for horses' hooves when they file horses' hooves, and shaped it with that. Then we took it down to the foundry in Pateros. They cut off the head and the feet, and then they cut each piece in half. And then Nate had to take a wire brush on a rotary tool and hollow it out. And then there's a big long foundry process where they pack it in sand and they pour in aluminum, and then they have to weld it all back together again. And I like the saying. Again, it's the cast Styrofoam. Read, don't be a dodo. When you're here, make sure you try to find all the art, try to figure out how they made it. Maybe think about what you would like to see added to this collection. And then, if you do make some sketches and you put them on social media, you can hashtag them Metal Art so we all can see them, or take them to school and show them to your teacher. We'd love to see what you're doing.